The Drop with Frank and Brian is officially brought to you by Switch Suspension. Switch Suspension specializes in all vehicle chassis components. Lift kits, lowering kits, air ride suspension, wheels, tires, steering, and brake upgrades. They use all the best products from the best brands. And these guys are truck guys. You roll into their parking lot at the shop and they all drive custom vehicles. So they use their products that they sell on their own vehicles. So if you guys are looking for anything for your vehicles, whether you're just starting out or you just need some replacement parts or whatever, give them a call or visit their website, switchsuspension.com.
Hope you enjoyed this episode of The Drop. If you like these podcasts and all the other content we create, head on over to our websites and purchase merch. Purchasing merch keeps us going and creating more content. Our websites are grinder-tv.com and livelifecustom.com. We really appreciate it. Now on to the episode.
Oh my god. Anyway.
Yeah.
Welcome to this week's episode. I don't know how that all started, but welcome. We're still here at the Drop cabin.
Yep.
And this is our second.
Yeah. We had to put all our drinks on the chairs.
You gotta put the drinks down.
Sorry, I'm a party pooper over here.
It's okay.
I'm learning to be a sound engineer.
Oh yeah. Okay. Anyway. All right. Yeah. So we're here. Drop cabin. Second podcast we're shooting here, and now we're sitting with Daniel Smith, our good friend from Florida.
Smithworkx,
paint, painter, bodybuilder, male fashion model. I was just gonna go right off the bat with that. I don't even know how I came up with that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just was like, yeah, Daniel's a bodybuilder. He was, or something, I guess.
Were we talking about questions for this podcast? And you said, "Yeah, I just want to talk to him about his body, like his
bodybuilding days."
Yeah, and you're like, "What?"
Yeah, I don't.
Or you mentioned it on here, and then you heard it. I think.
Yeah, you guys talked about it, and I was like, "Where did he?"
I don't even know.
Yeah, I'd like to know about it too. Actually,
You know, I do this thing. I do this thing with a lot of people where like I think stuff has happened or I like make it up, and then I just start telling it as truth. And I won't go into a long story about it, but I had this story about a friend who like slapped a dude at a bar, and I told that story for years. And then like I told him, I said, "Yeah, remember that one time you slapped a guy at the bar?" And he's like, "What? Huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I told him the story. He's like, "That never happened."
What if all this did happen and everyone's just messing?
Dude, they're gaslighting me.
Yeah.
So you. Yeah. He just slightly flexes and he's all.
Don't Google my name. You'll see me on the cover of Fitness Magazine or something.
with the little tiny Speedos and all bronzed out. Anyways, so Daniel Smith, welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You're all, yeah, sure.
Guys, yeah. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Sure, it's gonna be fun.
It is. It's gonna be a ton of fun.
We're already watching Silverado videos.
Yeah. And we got the Dodge and Cub game on in the background, so we get a little distracted.
Yeah, we might be a little distracted on this one, but it's fine.
That's fine.
But anyway, Daniel, nice to have you on here. Just tell us about your. We'll get it started real easy. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Should I skip straight to the bodybuilding or
no? Save that for later. Save that for later.
That's the post podcast. That's the Patreon episode.
There I was flexing. I was against Mr. Universe 2012. Anyway.
Oh man.
Yeah. What do you want to know? I'm from.
Yeah, where are you from?
Yeah, where are you from?
I'm from the Tampa, Florida area.
Yep.
Little town called Plant City, which is like the strawberry capital of the world, apparently.
Oh, interesting.
I got in the truck scene when I was probably about 18, 19. Was in a club, Mini Madness, which drove Slam Fest for like 20 years.
When was it? So when did you get into that?
I got the Mini Madness probably about 2000, 2001.
Okay, so
So
that's when you started your whole career in this mini truck stuff, right? Or like,
yeah, I mean, I had my first truck when I was like, started driving when I was like 16. So I mean,
how old are you now?
Whew, 44.
Oh, okay.
Dang.
Oh, you're right in between me and him.
Yeah, I'm 43.
Yeah, 44. You can see.
Right. Closer to him, but it makes me feel better.
Look at this.
Yeah,
I know.
Jeez.
The gray, everyone's getting.
Yeah, everybody's getting a little gray, but
yeah, it started all in the beard, and now it's starting to creep up here a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you? So were you into painting like before getting into the truck scene and all that, or which came first?
So I was always like an artist. Like when I just growing up, I just drew, obviously that was before iPads and everything. So like if we went to dinner with the family, I was drawing on a napkin or coloring on something, and then took art classes all through school. I used to I rode dirt bikes when I was younger, so I would not airbrush, but I would mask off helmets and paint them with spray cans, and do some pretty cool stuff with spray cans. And then I got an airbrush probably in my early 19s, 20s. And so let me think here.
Was there a painter that you followed, or someone you knew, or in the family, or just?
No, I grew up around cars. So my dad was in the cars, so we went to car shows my whole life. So I always looked into paint jobs and that kind of stuff. And then after high school, I actually worked at a little. Well, I got into Mini Madness, so I was around those guys that were building trucks and stuff. And I was working at an apartment complex, and I convinced the manager to let me use one of the little garages that they had. You could rent a garage out forever. Mm-hmm. So she let me have a garage, and I put a compressor and stuff in there and started painting at night. And so that's kind of where it started, the airbrush stuff. But I didn't really know what I was doing at all. I mean, I was just winging the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I remember I had some friends that lived in there, and I'd be like, hey, I'm going to clear something tonight, so you might want to park down the road a little bit. Wow. So we would open the door and just clear it, just freaking bill out. Paint would just bill out of this garage. Uh-huh. So that's kind of where it started. And then I started working at some body shops here and there, and just kind of grew from there. So.
Yeah. So you start off kind of in the collision industry first?
No, yes and no. I worked at body shops, but I never worked at any high collision type shops. It was all body shops that would kind of dabble in both, some restoration type stuff and some collision stuff. Mm-hmm. But I've never worked in a high volume collision shop or any. I'm too slow for it, so just kind of stayed away from that.
So you basically had these artistic skills, and then you just kind of started to. So basically, you were skillful in creating art, but then you had to learn the technique of doing it with things to paint cars.
Yes, correctly, and the proper way, prep and stuff, and you got
So you just basically learned your own through your own ways, and then at the shops, hands on, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean the shops kind of help with the proper way to do stuff as far as prepping and how to mix stuff properly, and the process of painting stuff properly and all that. None of the shops really helped the artistic side of it, because they were mainly just hot rod shops and body shops.
Just
and stuff,
hourly, just getting stuff done.
Yeah. But I have worked at some pretty high end hot rod shops. So
that's cool.
Actually, the blue 50s model truck that you shot at Badlam, Bama a couple years ago for CK Magazine. Yeah, I worked at the shop that built that truck.
Oh, cool.
That's Todd's Rods.
Yeah.
He's in Huntsville, Alabama, which is near Tennessee.
Yeah.
I lived up there for a couple of years and worked for him. And a couple other high-end stuff. So
that's cool. What'd you get into Mini Madness with?
I had an Isuzu Ombre.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Isuzu. My first truck was an '89 Isuzu pickup, and then after I graduated high school, I got that, and I just kind of fell into I wanted to get it bagged. So, this is before cell phones, the internet, and all that stuff. So I just kind of asked around who was bagging stuff, and I got a guy's number. And hit him up. It's gonna be this much, blah blah blah. Handed this guy I don't know, $2,000, not knowing anything about this guy.
Oh wow,
nothing. That's a whole other story. But he did the job.
Is the guy still around?
No.
not a lot of people from back then are still around.
Yeah, he was good. He was into some other stuff, and he had been in prison before.
Oh wow. Oh yeah.
He's literally could have screwed me hardcore, and there was nothing I would have did about it.
You're just
we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's that.
But he was really good at. I mean, he was a fabricator. He was really good at doing. He did a lot of stuff for the guys in Mini Madness, so that's kind of who they referred me to. And then I met the president of the club through him bagging my truck. We actually bagged it at his dad's house, and then he's like, "Hey man, you should come hang out and whatever." So I started hanging out with him, and probably the next Slam Fest, I worked the show and then was just kind of in from there. So
yeah.
How long? Mini Madness, that the Slam Fest show had been going on for a really long time, right?
So they just about 3 years ago had their 30 year.
So when were you attending Mini Madness shows before that? Or?
Yeah, I had been in Slam Fest probably 2 or 3 years prior to getting in the club. Yeah.
Are you still currently in the club?
No, I left about probably about 3 years ago.
Okay.
3 years ago, yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So you were just kind of painting cars, growing up in the scene, working on trucks and stuff like that. When did you decide that like that was going to be like a career? Like you could actually make money doing this?
He's like, wait, well, you can make money doing this?
Yeah. Hold on.
Tell me how that happens.
Yeah, I know. We're in the same boat.
Yeah. No, there's guys that, I mean, make really good. I mean, obviously, like eye candy and some of the guys we talked about before. I mean, there's guys that do really good at it. I just, I haven't quite found that, you know.
But I mean, but you've been doing it this long,
Yeah.
right?
So I've been doing it 20 plus years. I did it full time for a while when I was younger, when I didn't really have any bills. And I got screwed over on like a pretty big job and was like, I'm done. I went and got a job, worked for a few years, then got a shop, was doing it, you know, nights and weekends and stuff again. And then I left that job and went and worked at the hot rod shop. And then when I moved back to Florida, I worked at Jimmy's Rod Customs for a couple of years, or not for a couple of years, but for a little bit. Came back. And then when I came back to Florida, I kind of got into it again pretty heavy. And then just about 4 years ago, just decided to do it on my own and give it a shot. So
That's cool.
So
So you're just kind of doing a little bit of everything.
yeah, I was doing it nights and weekends, hardcore for a good probably 10 years or so. So
Do you remember the first like full job that you did, like not just graphics, but like paint jobs in general?
yeah, it was a square body style S10. Is my buddy who had a shop in town. He had a muffler shop, but he knew how to fab and stuff like that. So he built his own truck and he had somebody paint it. And he was a buddy of mine that I went to school with. So we kind of did a trade out deal, and I painted the whole truck and did graphics on it, and it's still held up pretty decent.
still
actually.
around?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's still around, and it wasn't like a cover truck, but it was on the cover of the mini truck. You know, like a shot of it.
Like,
or
yeah, like a
whatever.
little tech article.
Yeah,
or
like,
something?
and it had some show shots in there a couple times. It was a decent looking truck. It wasn't
That's
bad.
cool.
It wasn't terrible. No, I mean, when I first started painting, now that's a whole different story. There was some
So
bad stuff out there that I did that was not good.
so I used to work for a shop, and it was 2 bays in this guy's like basically backyard. It was big property, but he had a hot rod shop back there. So I worked in the paint and body side, and I did body work, shave stuff, and then the other guy was a painter. He had been a painter for a long time. And I just remember some of the stuff that we did, and I was just like, there's no way that this is going to last.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's got to be an interesting thing, because painting something, doing graphics, creating something has to take a lot, like, you know, like the 10,000 hour thing. Like, you're not really a master of something until you do it for like 10,000 hours. So it's a really interesting process. Like, how many paint jobs did you do that you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know about this one,
or the ones that you messed up and had to completely redo.
oh,
Yeah.
is that
Because that's
happened?
what's always
No.
scared me about paint. It's like the mixing of the paint
Right.
and getting all that right, you know?
Right.
Like that's scary to me, because then you're just laying it down. I don't know.
So I didn't mess up any like vehicles, but some of the artwork early on, like when I was learning, was like just really bad. I mean, like
Oh, you mean like
some of the guys at Mini Madness have some of my like first, and they're like, man, if I need to show you this, and I'm like, no, you don't need to show me. I remember.
You remember
So you mean from like design wise?
Just everything. I mean, like the design stuff and the paint work and the not using the right stuff, and just the whole thing was just not good. But it was never on anybody's vehicles at all.
Yeah.
So once I wouldn't even think about doing a vehicle until I was pretty confident.
Yeah.
It was at least going to last for a while. So now the artwork wasn't. I mean, it was not terrible, but not like what it is now. you
Yeah.
know, So
What was like? So when you started doing the graphic stuff, who were you following then?
when I started, probably like Cal Concepts.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you
the
that,
big stuff.
I'm curious, because like we talked to Phil Fowler earlier, and he's an East Coast guy, and me being a West Coast person who really doesn't know much or have been on the East Coast that much, like I'm very curious on how, like, what was influenced. So like you were painting and you were really influenced by Cal. So does that come out in your designs? Like you definitely have like a Cal vibe to your designs, or did you find like your own lane to like live in?
I feel like I kind of dabble in like. I feel like I've kind of got my own style a little bit now, but I feel like I kind of like dabble around like in different styles. Like, to be honest with you, like I would never put mini truck stuff on anything that I own, just because I'm not really like that big a fan of it.
Oh, interesting.
Like,
but you've done so many mini.
when I say I'm not a fan of it, I'm not a fan. It's not something that I want to see on my personal vehicle like every day. You know what I'm saying? Like once I see it for like a month or so, I'm kind of bored with it.
I'm kind of like that with graphics too, because people are
Type
like,
of
you can put Hutchinson.
Yeah.
You can put graphics on your Tacoma. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I because it's like it would be cool for a little while, and then I would go, man, I would almost want to change it, and that's
Exactly.
almost where like raps come into play. Like you can,
Or you could be just like Danny, and Danny will just repaint
Yeah,
stuff.
if you're a painter, then you
Yeah.
can just
Well,
sand
that's
it.
what-
No, I'm not doing all that.
You're like, I'm not going to go through all that work.
No. Even my personal, like the truck I'm building right now, I did a rendering of it. Everybody's like, "You're not doing graphics on?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't."
That's like what they say, like, and not, this is a bad analogy, but a good analogy. Like, a mechanic has the worst, like, running car, or, like, you know.
Oh well, yeah, I got a perfect example of that right now too. But
Okay, yeah, no, but it's like yours. Like, you're a graphic guy, you're a painter. You're like, no, a single color paint
Yeah.
job on my
Yeah.
personal.
So when you
ride.
see like,
my daily driver right now is like 6 different colors.
Oh, really?
you're the guy that you pass someone and they steer away from you because you're like, that dude definitely don't have insurance. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the plan is to paint it when I get back from Minionat. So we'll see
What is that?
What is it? What is the truck?
Yeah.
It's a 06 Silverado.
Oh, that's the Silverado.
Silverado we were just talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, that's it.
So you're gonna paint that. Oh.
Yeah, it needs
Is
to
that
paint
is that the one that you're building right now?
No, I'm building like a 03 Tahoe.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did see that. That's cool.
So when it comes to the paint though, and you said you're like you watch Cal and stuff like that, is there anyone that we might not know about?
Nowadays,
Like not now, maybe back then and maybe nowadays, is there people you pay attention to that might not be on everybody's radar?
oh yeah, now there's like
There's a lot of talented people. out there.
there's a lot of talented guys, and most of the ones that I am like really into don't even paint vehicles.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, really?
Like there's a helmet painter, Austin Poland.
Was he at the?
No,
No, okay.
Poland Design. That dude is like legit. Like legit.
So is there a lot of people?
He
out
mainly
there
does helmets. He
Helmets.
does
Bikes?
Bikes.
Oh
He-
wait, are they like vintage, like half helmet thingies?
No, he
Oh.
does a lot of like NASCAR, like
Oh, okay.
that kind of style.
Because I've seen
helmet.
a guy who does like vintage Bell helmets. You know.
Yeah.
So
There's so many talented guys. He's probably my favorite artist right now. Is the Poland, Austin Poland.
Yeah, because when it comes to painters, there's always a few that just are in the spotlight at all times,
Yeah,
and then you hear like, oh, I want a Cal paint job, I wanted this, but then there's so many that just don't get their
yeah,
name out there all the time, and
Right.
that's just because they're just doing the thing. They're just
Yeah.
painting and
Right,
painting and
right.
painting.
I think like Danny is a good example of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, Danny does a lot of killer work, but
but he's so quiet. Like,
exactly, yeah.
You wouldn't even. He's just the quietest dude. Doghouse Customs. Just
yeah. I don't even like. I've heard you guys talk about him, but
Yeah.
I've never really.
Yeah, he doesn't like. He's not smashing social media with anything. He just
Yeah.
kind of like paints his stuff, does his thing, and he's just, even when he's around, he's just kind of the quiet guy standing in
Yeah,
the background.
yeah. That's. I mean, I'm not saying that I haven't got the recognition I need because I'm not that kind of guy, you know. But like, I'm not. If you don't ask me what I do, I'm not gonna
Oh,
just
I
tell
see.
you like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, or I might say if that truck rolls by, I might say, oh yeah, I did, you know. But I'm not gonna like, hey, you know, like,
Yeah,
just not that guy.
well, because
yeah.
it's a job in itself.
I don't
to do
post
like
a lot,
What, like what Gooch does. I'm not saying Gooch does that, but Gooch is very good at social media.
Yeah.
and it's funny because he'll do the painting thing, but he also does the talking
Yeah,
thing,
he's
which
got-
is. He'll tell
Yeah.
these stories, and
Yeah.
the way his humor is,
Yeah.
you're just like, I don't even know what's going to happen at the end of the story.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but also, don't you think that's kind of like on the vehicle owner's shoulders too? Because like with my truck, like Alan from AK Airbrushing painted my truck, and I feel it's almost like kind of like my duty, I guess, to let people know, like,
Yeah.
okay, Alan painted this truck. You know, with anything with it, it's like, you know, this shop did the suspension, this shop did the paint.
Yeah.
So like, it's not really on you to like put yourself out there. It's this guy who paid a lot of money to get this done.
Right.
To go like, oh yeah, hey, you know, Smithworkx painted this thing.
Yeah, I think it's a weird thing because you have whoever I choose to do the paintwork on my truck, I'm choosing them for a reason.
Right, yeah.
It's like I'm proud to have them do it, and I'm having Alan do it because Alan's my friend. And
Right.
He just does good work. You know what I mean? And Danny's gonna do something later on, and you know, like we've talked about you coming out to Arizona and just doing some cool stuff on
Yeah.
something one day.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
you were talking about like maybe doing half, like Matt do half, and then you do the other half, kind of thing, which would be kind of cool. No, that's actually like really cool.
It's very cool. We just have there's just funny
that-
stories we have because we spent a week together.
Well, yeah, we're gonna talk. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna talk about that. But to finish my thought on,
I feel like that would just be a whole not if it's me and Matt or if it's
No, it would be this is how
whoever.
it would
Like
go.
I feel like that would be a very like, well, this guy's walking around this side. Let's see what's going on over here. And then you're going, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can feel like that could just be like a weird.
Well, no, I'm
We
just
did,
saying, you
I've
don't
done
have
it
to do
before.
Really?
at
I
the
did
same
it
time.
with my graffiti truck. So I had one side was Hutchinson, one side was Painter Shack Mike.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like literally just leftover paint. That it wasn't anything we were trying to make a show truck.
yeah, just
Yeah.
something to have fun with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of funny to split the wall down and you can't
you
see,
see what's
the-
going on.
Oh, that's
That's
cool.
what I'm saying, right? And you have to have like a security guard there, like
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then you almost need like a time limit because it could be like,
Well, the problem is he would be done and flying home, and Matt would still be like painting the base of it.
Well, let's talk about that.
I don't know, man. I'm a procrastinator too, so it could be.
Yeah, but you got something to get home to.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Well, let's talk about that. So,
But with to back it a little bit.
No, I'm sorry.
When you say about like the owner, like sometimes I feel a little guilty. Like, say I do graphics on something and like I post it and I'm like, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. When I was just like a very small part of what went on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean.
Well, are you really though? Because I mean, that's like the final presentation of the truck.
Yeah, but it's just it's a weird balance because it's not the owner's obligation because the owner paid money.
That's
right?
true.
Yeah. So if maybe you like gave him a deal, then you would feel more of that balance. But say the owner came, full pop. Owner has zero obligation to say anything. But then him as the painter wants to show the work. So he shows the work, but he doesn't want to take responsibility for the whole
thing.
Well,
Exactly,
no, I was saying what you were saying. Did you mean that like you're a small part of the whole process?
Yeah, I mean, like I'm a small part of that truck or that vehicle getting built, and every single one of the trucks that I've did was sick trucks, whether I touched it or not. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm 100% humbled that I got to work on some of these trucks that I have, but they were going to be sick whether I touched them or,
You don't want someone to take it as you're saying that you built the
no,
truck.
because
I'm not
obviously
saying that.
But I
at
mean,
all.
some people will. That's what he's saying is a lot of people will see that and take that.
Oh, I see. That'd be
or think that I don't want anybody to think that like I'm acting like I did more than I did because I did. I did graphics and that's all I did, or I did the paint job and that's all I did. I didn't do anything else. So
yeah, but it's the internet, so it doesn't matter what you say.
Yeah,
you just say whatever you want.
Well, you know what? It's the internet. It doesn't matter what you say because it's going to get misconstrued anyway.
Yeah,
so you might as well just take care of yourself and do what you got to do. You know.
And also like I want people to see my work, but I could care less if they know who I am or not. Like I don't.
Okay.
I mean, it's cool to talk to people, but I don't.
It's a balance because you do it for a living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like us selling shirts. I don't like to put my shirts every day. I don't like to put that out there. I would rather put the videos out there and the photos. But then I'm like, well, I need to tell people I sell merch.
Right.
They could just see these cool photos. And then how did they get them to the website? But then I will post the shirts. I'm like, I'm posting too many shirts. I got to post a truck again.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just kind of.
Yeah. You just got to figure out what works
Which
for
is
you,
interesting because if you think about a long time ago, because we were talking about Cal, earlier, like when Cal was probably at its height in popularity, there was no social media and stuff like that. It was merely magazines.
No, it just goes to prove if you do good work, everything else follows.
People will find you.
And that's the other thing back like when, so to go back a little bit, like when I started, there was, there was no social media. There was no, so it took me a long time to get where there's guys that are way better than me. I'm not saying I'm the best by no means, but I feel like I'm decent, but it took a long time to get to where I even felt like I was decent,
Yeah.
And now it's like with YouTube and all these classes and Instagram, it's like if you want to figure it out, if you still on that phone long enough and dabble in it, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's with anything. Like, I mean, screen print or freaking videos or
we say it all the time.
Or paint. Like, if you want to figure it out, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. So. We say that all the time. Like when people ask us for advice or how to do things, to like not at least point them in the right direction or be friendly and start a conversation. They're gonna figure it out anyway.
Yeah.
Might as well make a friend or just be nice. So like later on when someone says like, oh hey, I asked Frank a question about screen printing, he blew me off, and now they're a better screen printer or something.
Yeah.
Might as well just be nice to them and put them in the right direction in the beginning. But
and like you said, the paint people are offering the classes now.
Yeah.
You can still go to community college and take a class to get the basic know-how of like what you're doing, and then you take it off from there with your own style.
Anybody, I get hit up on Instagram and stuff, and any painter, anybody, you gotta be a painter. I don't care who you are. You ask me how to do something, I'm gonna tell you. I'm just not that guy that's gonna be a dick or.
You can't gatekeep it. Someone else will tell them.
And even if it's like I remember me and Gooch are pretty tight, and we go pretty hard on each other. We bust each other's balls pretty hard and stuff, And like the first or second time I met him, he was like, he showed me a screenshot or something he had. And he's like, dude, how did you do this? And I'm like, it wasn't really that hard, I'll tell you, And he was like, dude, I've looked at that thing so many times trying to figure out what you did. And I was like, he does the same thing I do, and like I don't care. You're gonna figure it out if you want to figure it out, you know.
Right.
I didn't start it. I didn't invent it, you know. I mean, there might be a couple things that I do that I kind of.
Yeah, I
Pick
guess
them on home, but-
each person has their own little secret sauce that they do, or
Yeah.
their a little thing to make the next step faster. Or
Well, and that's where the the long term like skill learning is finding, because like again, if someone asks me how to print a T-shirt, I will tell you exactly how to do it.
Yeah.
But it's all those like little half steps in between that is either gonna like make a really nice T-shirt at the end or not a nice T-shirt at the end. And the same thing with the paint. I'm pretty sure that's the same thing.
Yeah, because like I mean, I've taught some of these classes, and like you can sit there and show them exactly how to do it. I mean, exactly. And they might not have the eye to make it look.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you've got the steps to know what to do, but it's not just about that. It's having the vision or the eye or the
or the
like learning
follow-through.
the technical smart part of it, but then also learning the creative part.
Yeah, having the eye to know what looks good and what don't look good, and
the
what's
follow-through
what's too much, what's not enough, like that kind of balance and stuff. So
Yeah, and then, like I said, the follow through to keep doing it, because
Yeah.
it's like, this guy that knows what he's doing showed me how to do it. Now I know how to do it, and now I got to keep doing it.
yeah,
And keep doing it and keep doing it until it's actually like you're either confident. I was going to ask about that, like your confidence. Did you have confidence right off the bat, or how
No.
long did it take you to for someone to drop their truck off and go, here, sand on my truck,
yeah.
ruin the paint that's already there basically, and
Yeah.
then make these graphics, because that sounds nerve wracking to me.
No, it was a long time. And like I said, I did it full time for a while, and I didn't touch a vehicle till I was pretty confident in at least that like the paint's gonna stick and that kind of thing, you know. But even back, I mean, probably for the first 10 years, to be honest with you, like I wasn't really confident in my artwork. I mean, it looked okay, but it wasn't like nothing that,
What was the first one you looked at and went, that's sick?
vehicle wise?
Like your job, one of your graphic jobs.
A truck, to be honest, probably Dave's Red C10, the roof.
Yeah.
Oh, with the big blown motor.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Probably that. Bike wise, I did some bikes a few years back that was pretty decent.
Yeah.
You know? But then I didn't, to be like confident, like probably the last like 8 to 10 years I've been like, like I feel like I can give you something that you're going to be happy with, no matter what it is, a bike, a truck, or whatever.
I feel that in photos,
Yeah.
in videos. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I only recently got to a point where I didn't have anxiety going on a shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we all feel that too, because almost me too, like with screen printing and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you gave me art and told me to do something, like I'm pretty confident that I can replicate that for you.
Yeah.
But there was that anxiety.
Yeah. I always like kind of trying to find a spot, make sure I get the shots. And now I kind of have like the thing down, and I go, and so when someone says, can you do this? I'm like, yep, let's go do it. But before I'd be like, oh, let me make sure of this and make sure that. And
I used to get up in the morning, like ready to do a job, and I'd get up in the morning, I'm like, okay, here we go. You know what I mean?
What am I gonna get hit with today?
Well, no, I mean like we're talking about that confidence. Like I used to get up in the morning like not confident, like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and hopefully it turns out good. But now I can be like, okay, we're gonna do this.
You know, at the end of the day, the job's going to be done and turn out good.
Well, I think with me, a lot of it was like when I went and worked at that hot rod shop in North Alabama, like that dude builds like super high end stuff, and the attention to detail is like pretty high end. And I knew what I was doing when I started to work there, but he just kind of like honed my skills in. And it wasn't even, I never did graphics. I didn't even paint there, but just the attention to detail, how to prep stuff, not overlooking things that you need to, you need to address and whatever. And after I left there, like my attention to detail just went, way higher. And
That's what was like the next like gear of your skill is just the attention to detail.
And then I didn't do mini truck stuff for like the longest time, even when I started painting again. And then I don't know if you want to hear this whole progression. But
No, absolutely.
I kind of stopped doing like mini
But
trucks.
you have to stop hitting the table.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was just waiting for my end there.
I was like thinking about Jim, like, we'll see.
So I had like hadn't painted a mini truck in I don't know how long, a very long time. Wasn't really into even painting that style again, and everybody was doing like flake stuff. I was doing a lot of flake stuff, and I was like, I want to do something different. So I painted a surfboard for one of our shows that we were doing, like a night show, all mini truck style. The first thing I painted mini truck style in probably 15 years, and everybody freaking was like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
like I want that board, and you got to do my hood. You got to do this. You got to do that. And I was like, really? I guess I'm doing this again. You know?
Yeah.
So after that, it's really honestly, I mean, I got them lined up right now,
That's
nonstop
freaking cool.
doing
That's
that
awesome.
stuff.
That's really cool. That must be a cool feeling to be like, yeah, people like what I do.
Yeah.
You know, enough to wait, to pay money, to like be patient for this thing that I'm about to create.
Yeah.
That's gotta be a cool feeling.
Yeah. Well, what's cool is like in the early days, looking at the guys like Cal Concepts, and we had a couple Florida painters that were pretty good back in the day. And like wanting to be able to work on that caliber vehicles, that was nice, you know. And now like I've got, you know, I did Barsha's dually and
I want to bring that up.
a couple other ones. It's like I never would have dreamed I would have ever be that good, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So, and I'm the most humble guy. Like I'm not saying there's guys plenty better than me, but just the chance to get to work on some of these trucks has been, and bikes. I mean, I've did some pretty high end choppers too.
Yeah, I was gonna ask like about mini truck and graphics. Hold on. Oh, he got him out.
Out.
Yeah, that's stupid. We're watching it for people listening. Where the Cubs and Dodger game is on in the background.
Yeah,
so
I'm trying not to be distracted.
Frank can't see it because there's bright lights.
I can
in his
see
face.
the score, but I notice like every time I look at it, Daniel also looks at it. So I'm like, I need to stop looking over that way because you think like
I just wait till you guys are in a conversation, then I'm on.
I could actually watch it in the reflection, but I could give two craps about baseball. So.
Not a sports guy.
I am, but just not baseball.
Oh, what sports are you into?
I like football.
A football guy.
Yeah.
What's your team?
I don't really like the NFL too much. I like college.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
College
College.
guy.
I like Florida State, Miami,
Okay.
any team but the Gators.
Okay.
Florida.
Oh, yeah. Because you're Tampa. What was the school in Tampa?
We have USF.
Okay.
Which is like
Is that the Seminoles?
No, that's Florida State. That's US. That's USF.
I'm the opposite. I don't know anything about college.
That's Florida
football.
State University, and we have Florida Southern University in Tampa.
Okay. Yeah, I don't follow college. I mean, the only thing I like being like a Southern California guy, like I like UCLA. That's
Right.
about it.
Right,
So
yeah.
and I don't even really follow the games. I just like
It's just
are
a
they doing
default.
good? Yeah, it's like a default thing. But
I don't follow it. Like I'm not gonna plan my whole day around watching any
But it's
game.
just the thing that can be on that entertains you. If it's on.
if baseball's on or basketball, I'm not gonna watch it. But if football's on, I'll watch it, or soccer or racing or that kind of stuff. But
that's cool. So and this actually ties really well into the whole bodybuilding thing. And we'll circle back to the whole paint stuff. We'll get back there. We'll talk about that because like I think the reason is like, so are you like an athletic person?
yeah, I played sports all growing up my whole life until until high school.
there was a picture that you showed us.
Yeah, and that's where I think you showed me a shirtless picture one time of yourself.
Are you sure it was me? My girlfriend might have showed you that. I don't know if it was me. though.
She did, yes.
I don't usually go around showing pictures of myself to people.
That's exactly,
yeah, especially the dudes.
You're like, hey man, look at that. Wow, man, you're really buff, dude. Steiner's losing his
That's
mind
funny.
over there. Yeah, I think that is exactly what happened. Your girlfriend did show us like an old photo of you all rocked out, and I just assumed like, oh, he's a bodybuilder. That sucks.
So does any picture of a guy you see with no shirt on, you just automatically think he's a bodybuilder? Or
I guess so.
See my picture with me with no shirt on. You never said that was a bodybuilder.
I was like, wow,
There's definitely building a body there.
Mr. Universe.
No, but it was like, didn't you do like some sort of water?
I used to wakeboard a lot and like wake surf and stuff a lot. Yeah,
I think we're all.
I think I know what picture you're referring to. But
I'm gonna message
We're
your
gonna put it
girlfriend
right-
and get that picture and put
Yeah,
it right
we're
here.
gonna put it right here.
please no.
This is Daniel shirtless, where Frank thought he was a bodybuilder.
See a message incoming from Brian to your girlfriend. Don't worry about it. I'm just asking for a photo.
But anyway, back on the paint stuff. So you're involved in like the motorcycle world too, right?
Yeah. I did some choppers, mainly choppers and bob, like that style. I'm not really into street bike stuff at all.
Did you build them yourself? Did you ride? Like,
I've built a bike myself, my own bike, and some of my dad's stuff, and then paying them. So I had a lot of jobs early on in the early days. I worked at a shop that built chopper frames and built full bikes, and I painted a couple bikes for them, and then just on from there. So
who was the really famous guy from Florida, the chopper builder, Billy
Lane.
Billy Lane, yeah.
Yeah.
No interaction with that world.
No, I've been to his shop before, but I've never painted anything for him. I've painted for I hate the name drop and stuff, but
No, name drop away.
So you told me you used to hang out at West Coast Choppers, or you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you know any of the guys that work there?
I knew like Pete Finland. I knew like just a couple guys, Brian Zamora. Like,
So probably when you were hanging out there was a guy named Bill Dodge
yes,
who ran the shop.
yeah, he was the shop
Okay.
manager.
I've painted like 4 bikes for him.
Oh, okay.
So he left.
Since he left,
Yeah.
West Coast.
So he left there, and he was in like New Jersey, I think, for a while, then Kentucky, then he was in Daytona for a while, and a good friend of mine who builds bikes also, who I've painted some bikes for, them two are like brothers. And then now he's moved back to Kentucky like the last year and a half ago.
Oh, okay.
But my good friend Eric, who builds bikes too, got me linked up with him, and I've did 2 complete full bikes for him, 2 other ones that were like not a whole bike or whatever, but
That's cool. Well,
Yeah.
did you really get into that whole bike culture thing, or you just kind of dabbled in it?
kind of dabbled in it. I liked it. I still like it. I like the chopper scene and that kind of stuff. I'm not really.
There's still like a chopper scene, like that whole.
There is, yeah, and there's like a real big like kind of like the old style chopper scene. Like,
Yeah, but not
like
like the
Bobbert.
OCC.
Yeah,
like that
that's not
Jesse
really-
James stuff anymore.
Yeah, I think the Jesse James that style is kind of like trickling back in a little bit.
Well, it's been about 20 years, so it's about time for
Yeah,
that.
about time for it to come back around.
back.
Yeah,
So,
but not
yeah.
that super stretched long.
No.
like the comically dumb
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
that was happening.
if you see something that's like super stretched like that, it's like 70s style, like
yeah, like
Oh,
like
yeah.
the 70s,
Like
yeah,
old
yeah,
style.
I
yeah.
watched this really cool like mini documentary about these guys. They're from like San Diego or something. They build like period correct
Yeah.
70s choppers. And they have like the little sissy seats and stuff like that with
Right.
a long super front end little headlight.
That's what Paul Senior was always into. In
So
the
they have a
chopper
show
thing,
in
right?
California called
Born
Free.
Born Free, yeah.
Yeah, they do it in California. I think Texas somewhere too, and that's like a big like old school chopper.
Yeah, that's that thing.
Chopper show,
And
yeah.
and a lot of, so it's kind of interesting. Like these guys, they're like mini truckers but on bikes.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
like punk rockers, skateboarders, and
Yeah.
they like this video that I saw, and I can't recall the name, but like they rode from San Diego up to San Francisco, and they would stop and they would surf and then they would skate and
Yeah.
stuff like, and that's like that whole Max Schaefer. You know who that is? So he was a skateboarder in the like mid 90s, and he like skateboarded in the mid 90s and rode pro and everything, but then he went on to start like a chopper company. And
Gotcha.
so that's that vibe,
Yeah.
like skateboarding chopper type things.
Yeah. So back to Bill. A few years back, I did a bike for him. I started painting the bike for him. I got the frame done. He got in a bad accident. Got hit. The guy ran, left him for dead. Bad
on his
deal.
bike.
Huh?
Was he on a bike?
He was on a bike. Yeah.
Okay.
On a chopper that he had just built. He was test riding it. You know, he'd build them, ride them for a while, and then the customer come get him. So he got hit on that bike.
Don't hit the table.
Sorry. He got hit. He got hit on a bike. I started painting another bike for him, right? So I painted a bike. I painted a frame for him. Delivered that. In between, he gets in a bad accident. Almost dead. I mean, for like a period of time. Bad deal, right? Mm-hmm. Comes back, gets back to working again, and gets back healthy or whatever. Finishes that bike. So, I mean, it was bad. So I got to finish the bike that he started before and after the accident. Then the bike that he got hit on, he wanted to rebuild it. So I got to paint that bike. That was like the bike that he got hit on. You know, it was like a whole
Yeah.
deal. So that was super cool, and they were very nice bikes. And
That's cool.
so yeah.
Now, when it comes to like the graphics, like bike graphics, mini truck graphics, so we always say mini truck graphics, and that's like a dedicated thing, right? Like that's like that style is not on anything else, really, is it?
Not really. I mean, there's a couple guys that I've seen a couple baggers with it. Maybe I've seen a couple race cars like dragsters that might do
Yeah.
like a
Really?
dragster,
Like
or
with
funny
mini truck
car
style graphics?
Yeah, no, I mean not very many, but I have seen a couple things
Yeah.
here and there like that. But there's like a pro street truck that comes to Turkey Rod Run, which is a big show bus. It's got like a mini truck style paint job on it.
No, that's cool.
So, but yeah, typically it's
Just mini trucks.
mini trucks are a full size, you know, a
Yeah, just
laid
mini,
out
mini
full size.
truckers in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they were mini truckers and now they're something else. Is that-
Yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't throw a mini truck paint job on like a hot rod or anything like.
No, and that's what we
Yeah.
always talk about, like the C10s and stuff. Like there's a couple C10s. There's that orange one. It's from like Sencal. And it's
Oh,
got the,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That one's
Yeah.
actually pretty tough.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's hard to pull off on a C10.
Right,
It's very
right.
ballsy to pull off on a C10.
Yes.
So you had has like that one's got huge, comically huge wheels. It's very,
Yeah,
Very mini
Very-
trucker esque.
but you
Yeah.
couldn't do that on like just a regular
Right.
Chevy truck or Ford truck or something like that. It's got to be a mini truck, and that's kind of what makes mini trucking unique and also cool because you're allowed to just experiment and do crazy things on it.
Yeah.
But you can do it in the bike world.
Yeah, there's no rules.
There's no rules.
Yeah, there's no rules.
Yeah.
And so, like, are you seeing? We always talk about like that resurgence of graphics, and it kind of started happening in like, I would say like 2015, 16, 17. You started to see like, oh, graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And is that still a thing? Do you still see graphics like being a trend for a little while? Because it's like there's a trend of like the graphics, but is that just a now thing? Because the other thing is like kind of what I'm doing is a very OEM. Like you see all the full size trucks, and it's just very OEM body dropped. So
I feel like they'll kind of go, kind of like how it did like in the early 2000s, where it was like the graphics hit really hard, and then it started to trickle out. I feel like it's going to happen again. I feel like everybody's going to want it for probably another, let's just say 5 years.
But things seem to speed up now. Trends seem to speed up because of the internet. Because everybody wants to have the first thing or the different thing. So once the different thing becomes the very common, and then it quickly changes, and then what's the next different thing? And it's just changing so fast. It's almost like these trends are going to just like, graphics will go away, but then there'll be a different style of graphics.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, do you think that also this happens? Like, you have people who do really, really good graphics like yourself. So then people see those graphics and they're like, that's so sick, but I could never afford to pay that guy to do it. So they try to do it, and then it's not as good. And then, like, after so many people do not as good, and then those not as good graphics kind of like, and this is kind of a hard way to say it, but like pollute the scene. And then everybody's like, yeah, I don't want to do graphics. And then someone comes out with a super clean single color paint job.
Yeah.
And
It
then
also
that whole
breeds-
cycle starts over again.
it also breeds new painters. Because
Yeah.
it'll filter the ones that aren't doing, but then there's like that one gem, the dude that just like came out and I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do now.
Yeah.
And he's really good. And doing that when we did Finnegan's truck, that, and then talking to you more about it, like in Matt Hutchinson and stuff, was just like the right way to do it.
Right. Yes.
And like really paying attention to oh, look, Dodgers hit home run.
Good job. Good job, Will Smith.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, man.
Just bear with us. It's fine. But yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way. And so I started now noticing the wrong way, and I was like, oh, yeah, that actually does not look good.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of little things that people can do and to totally mess it up, and not.
I think my biggest, and if anybody has this on their truck, I'm not talking about you specifically. I think my pet peeve for graphics is thin graphics.
Yeah, I was going to say like wispy
graphics, like very thin, and also the thing that also bugs me is no plan. Like, it's just like, okay, we're just gonna throw a tribal like this and a tribal like this and some, and you can tell like when graphics are like really thought out, and they match and they flow and everything goes together.
It's so confusing to me.
And that's the other thing. It's very confusing.
Well, a lot of people think like more's better, or if I need all these colors and all this crap. That's not going to make it good.
Right.
Like when I do a job, like if you can't tell what's going on, it's too busy.
Like if you can't follow,
follow a line and see where it's going, if there's so many lines that you can't tell where it cuts back or whatever it does, like it's too busy. Or if you have a background but you can't even see the background because there's 50 lines going, it's like it's too big, and I'm not saying I'm right or wrong, but that's just my personal preference or the way I try to lay them out.
It makes sense because when you look at the side of a car and you can tell, you're just like, I don't really know what's going on there. But then when
neither did the guy who painted it really know what was going on. You know what I mean?
Like you said, there was no plan.
Yeah, there's no plan.
Yeah.
Or you do graphics and you don't pinstripe it, or you do graphics and you don't do shadows, so it just looks flat.
That's the other thing is depth.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the ones that bother me, I guess, so to speak, don't have any depth.
Yeah.
They just look very flat. You know. So
Flames are the same way because there's
flames are hard.
Flames
too.
are one of those where a lot of people will be like, I like flames, I don't like flames. But then if you don't like flames, but then there's some flames you're just like, okay, those are sick.
Yeah.
But then there's some you're like, what is going on?
Yeah, there's guys. I can't name any of them because I'm not a huge flame guy. But there's guys that can lay some flames out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not a huge flames guy, but when they're done right, they're hard to beat.
Same here. I'm like, I don't even like flames. And then like I see one, I'm like, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. I'm more of a, like, as far as flames are concerned, I'm more of like a seaweed flame kind of fan. You know.
Yeah.
What's that one like?
So they're very long and like wispy.
Wispy?
They're very long, very wispy.
Yeah.
But they have again, there's like a pattern to it. And it's not like willy nilly or whatever.
That's kind of big in the chopper scene, like the old school chopper scene too. Is like they call them seaweed flames, and they'll get kind of fat and skinny again, and that's like a old school chopper thing too.
Cool. Do you do like pattern? Well, you did the red truck. The red truck has patterns all over the roof.
I can do lowrider stuff.
Do you like doing that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like doing all of it, to be honest with you. Like, there's not really a style that I don't like doing. I feel like it just depends on the job. And
do you like when people say, "These are the colors that I want. Do whatever you want," or do you like when there's more input? Or I guess it could go both ways because you're like, "Go give me input," or do you not want it?
I like a little bit, like, obviously, like, do you want the side of the truck? Do you want the hood, the roof, and the back? What do you want? Are you wanting like just a thin something to break it up? Are we doing like,
Yeah, because what if you're like, here's my truck, here's my money, I don't have a budget, and then you do it, and they're like, I don't even like that.
Yeah.
That's wouldn't that be kind of weird?
That is kind of
so
weird.
you have to get some input at least, right? Because you could be like, oh, I did oranges and this, and they're like, oranges, I hate orange.
Yeah.
So I kind of put myself on blast a little bit. That kind of happened to me with my truck. And Alan, if you're listening, that's basically what I did with Alan. I was like, I basically said I want to do a graphic down the side with airbrushing in it, and here's a list of things I don't want.
Yeah.
And do whatever you want.
Right.
Which is great, which I love everything on it, but that's how I ended up with a San Diego skyline on the side of my truck. Because he's like, oh yeah, he's all, you're like a city dude, yeah. And so I think he just Googled city, and then he came up with the San Diego skyline, and then he put it on the truck.
It would have been way better if you put the Padres Stadium in the skyline.
I mean, it is the skyline, so technically it is there, technically. And it was really funny because like I saw it because I went to go say hi one day, and they're doing it, and I see this. And maybe this is the part where I should have said something, but I guess I was too scared to say anything because I go look at he sends me a picture. That's it. He sends me a picture, and on the truck is taped the skyline that he's painting, and it's not cleared or anything yet. And he's in the middle of doing it, and it says San Diego, like it has skyline and the little words says San Diego. And then I was like talking to my wife about it, and she's like, dude, no one's gonna notice. No one's gonna notice. The day I bring it out, I pull up to because the first show I took it to was our show. And I pull up, and our buddy Joey from San Diego is like, "That's a San Diego skyline."
Yeah, because he has that tattooed on his arm.
He has it tattooed. And so so that's the other side of it is like, yeah. So I'm not saying Alan, I'm not saying that I don't like it.
But that's just, on the customer side of things. You'd rather him be like, stop now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the Los Angeles skyline. Do the Hesperia, California skyline.
Do Apple Valley. Yeah. Our clock tower for Apple Valley.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, lowrider graphics are insane. There's a guy like floating around Instagram right now. I don't know his name or anything, but like it's just a video of him taping out like some, like some of those like wavy kind of like patterns and stuff. And it blows my mind. Like I wouldn't even know where to begin because that like lowrider like panels and paint is a lot of like layers and back taping, and I mean all graphics are probably like that, but are lowrider graphics like more intense?
No, to me they're actually like easier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because if you like the way I do them and the way a lot of the guys do them, like they'll have like a silver outline around almost everything, like the silver flake outline, or that's how they break up the patterns, and it's easier. Like once you get that taped up, you're just knocking out sections, and so it's not you're back taping, but you're not having to go back and like it's just a different process. Okay. At least the way I do it anyway. It's just you can do a roof pretty fast, really, once you get it ripped up and knocked out. Yeah.
See, I assume the opposite. I look at the tape and stuff. I'm like, oh, dude, I wouldn't even know. I'd get lost.
It's funny. Like I'll show a customer or even Brooke, my girlfriend, or something. I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and she'll be like, I don't know what is going on here.
It makes sense in your mind, but
and
like like an outsider looking in,
when I was filming them tape up that truck, I was like, what, you're taping up so much. They tape up the whole side of the truck, and they went, whoosh, and then they would take all the tape back off. I'm like, Dan, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, one of the trucks I did, like I had it taped up, and I was probably about halfway through it, and the customer came and looked at it, and he's like, dude, I don't know, man. I just don't know if this is gonna. I don't know. I said, dude, just trust me. It's gonna be good. Man, I don't know. I don't understand where this is going and what's doing it here. I was like, just it'll be good, dude. I promise you. and he couldn't see what was going on with the tape and this and that.
I bet you that's kind of annoying. You're just
A little bit,
look,
but I mean,
man,
I understand it, but I mean, a little bit.
Yeah.
You understand that they don't understand.
Yeah.
Because there's things that you walk into a shop, you're like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But you just got to kind of trust the process.
Yeah, for sure.
And then obviously it was the 2-door Tahoe I did, and once it was all done, he was like, "Oh, dude, like."
Yeah. Again, this trust me, bro.
If it was my first one, I would understand, But
You start questioning yourself. You're like, maybe not. So what? I want to talk about Barsha's truck because I don't know every single truck you've worked on. They've always been super nice and stuff. But Barsha's truck seems to be that one where
Is this? I'm sorry, I don't know. Is this the gray one or the blue one?
the gray dually. The gray dually, yeah.
And he had already came out. It already went to SEMA. I think it did a year, right? In gray.
It had been out a while, yeah. Probably longer than a year, I'm sure.
Longer than a year, but it already had made its main shows.
Yeah.
And he wanted to change it up a bit, right? So does he hit you up, or how does that? I mean, you've told me the process before. We're going to tell it over again. And then I want to talk about like the nerves, because to me, that truck already being done, like, and how Mike is.
Yeah.
Mike's very, very, like, obviously his truck's super nice, but he's, just that guy.
Yeah.
So how did that?
His attention to detail was like on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it shows in that whole truck.
Yeah. The truck had been done for a while. And so he brought it back into the shop that did like the paint and they did some other things to it. And they called me and I was like, hey, he's wanting to do graphics on it. Are you interested? And I'm like, sign me up. Absolutely.
Oh, cool.
And they had another guy that I think was going to do it, but something happened, health issues or whatever. So I'm like, tell me roughly when it's going to be ready. And so then me and Mike talked, and he had already had a couple renderings done, but he wasn't super happy with any of them. And so he showed me the renderings, and he's like, this is kind of what and back to that, you could screw something up, put in the wrong, He's like, I don't want miniature graphics.
You can't hit the table.
I'm like, good, because I wouldn't. That miniature graphics is not what's going on in that truck, So, I gave him a couple sketches, and he was like, I kind of like there's like 2 renderings that the other guy did that I kind of like. He's like, if you kind of combine those 2 renderings, I think it'll work, whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. That's what I'll do then. So I went to the shop with that in my head, that's what I was doing. I was combining somebody else's 2 graphics. So I get out there the first day and I start taping up the hood, doing somebody else's. But I had already sketched up some stuff and showed it to him, and he was like, "Yeah, it looks good," but he wasn't quite sold on it, right? So then I get the hood halfway taped up with the other guy's stuff, and then the shop. It was Twin States is the shop that did the paint work, and they're talking to him on the phone. They show me the interior rendering, and I'm like, "Dude," I said, "I'm not telling you this just because I drew this up, but this in the interior rendering is like
2 different things."
No, it's like dead nuts. Like, that's what it needs to be.
Oh, I see. And because he was already convinced, like, someone else, like,
yeah.
Okay.
So I blow up what I had sketched up, which was chicken scratch compared to the other renderings, but it was, you can make out what it was. And we blew it up on the iPad, stuck it on the hood, and he FaceTimed Mike and was like, "Dude," he goes, "this is like the interior rendering, and this is like a dead match." And he's like, "Okay, I trust you guys. Go with it." So a full day of taping, all ripped off, but I was glad because it was like, now it's my design and my work, So it would have been a little bit cooler if I would have known what I was going out there to do, because I could have tweaked it, made it a little bit better, if I was prepared a little better. But yeah, that's the deal. And I went out there and
did the guys who did the renderings, were they also did they've done graphics before?
Yeah,
but did they was it like not a miscommunication, but just like what am I trying to say here? Like, how did they arrive to that you were like, you had to intervene and say, no, I think we should do it this way? What did they miss, basically?
So the guy who did the renderings, I think he has a certain style too, and it just wasn't quite on the same page as what Mike had in his mind.
Oh, I see.
And I feel like I kind of had, like, I knew what he wanted. Like,
Yeah.
as strange as that sounds, I know the guys that Mike follow, like the high and hot rod guys and stuff, and kind of knew like what they were doing on their stuff. And so I just kind of knew. So Sorry, my throat's like.
No,
No, it's
okay.
fine. Go
But
ahead.
if you need another one, just go grab one. Yeah, that's when it comes to renderings and like ideas and stuff, like it's kind of good that way though, because you're getting someone else's input, this input, and
Yeah.
your input, and because I know I wouldn't know what I would want, so it would be kind of nice to get different ideas.
Yeah.
Well, and plus, like, you're physically there, looking at it, taping it out, and
Yeah.
like, did that help you, like, kind of like organically come up with this idea, or you said you already had it?
Yeah, I already had a rough script, a rough sketch
Yeah.
of what I had in my mind. I mean, from what I did and what I sketched I tweaked it a little bit, but it was pretty. Well, I had the hood, and then I had to figure it out from the hood on once I was out there. But I had a pretty good.
Was it on the hood and the roof and in the bed? Did it go through the interior too?
No, it goes hood, roof, down the back wall, up the bed, down inside the bed, and
Oh, wow.
it stops in the bed floor.
Okay. Yeah.
So I had like the hood kind of figured out, and then I figured the rest of it out kind of on the fly.
Yeah.
That's cool. It turned out killer.
But then that whole job was nerve wracking.
That's what I was
Yeah.
getting at, is the nerve wracking.
Yeah, because one, that's an easy one to mess up. Like if you could mess that truck, not mess the truck up, but you could mess the job up bad.
Yeah.
Really?
Easy. Like you put the wrong stuff on there, and it's not gonna complement the truck. It's gonna go the other way.
I see what you're saying. Like, get all the way to the end and realize, like, oh,
Yeah,
by the way you're describing it, it could have went like that.
it could have went easy. Could have easy killed it like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That is nerve-wracking.
And then I'm just also working around all
And
the
the
detail.
renderings that were done was not bad. I mean, they were very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. No, I'm not also saying they're bad. It's just
You could have
like,
did that and it would have looked good too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that mine was any. I'm not even saying mine was better than that, but I think it turned out what Mike wanted. If that makes sense.
That's cool.
Yeah, Mike's I don't want to say picky, but he just knows what he wants.
Yeah, it was what he wants. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's very like, nope,
Yeah.
nope, this is my truck. Nope, like he's the nicest guy, but when he doesn't need to be nice, he doesn't need to
Yeah.
be nice.
Yeah.
Like that.
I don't think I've ever met him.
And then work on a truck that's already done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're working on the roof, so you're trying to not put a freaking knee in the side of the door or fall on the hood.
Imagine that they're like, oh, now we got to do body work on. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a little, but that's one of those trucks where it's like, going back to never thinking you get to work on, So, and now that truck was, I used to work at Jimmy's Rod and Customs, and that truck was in there getting built while I worked
Oh,
there.
yeah,
so
that's right.
Yeah.
that was another, cool to see it, the whole process of it.
like a
And you
little
did
bit of history.
the when I said earlier the blue dually, you did that blue dually too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And whose truck is that?
His name's Bill Dubuisson. I think I said his last name right. He's from Louisiana.
Okay. That thing turned out sick.
So that was the first one I traveled to go do.
Oh, that was before the gray truck?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought the blue one was like more recent actually for some reason.
No, I did the blue one. I'm bad with like time frames, but
Time frames are getting weirder and weirder. As you
3 or
go
4
older.
years,
Yeah.
4 years ago, probably or so.
Okay.
3 years ago. Yeah, that guy was from Louisiana, and I flew out, or I didn't fly out there. I drove out there to Louisiana and was out there for about 2 weeks and did it.
That's cool.
So
That's kind of a cool thing to do is just
Fun
travel,
experience.
do your work, travel, do your
Yeah.
work,
Don't mind me. Keep on talking.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna get him a water. Do you need anything?
No, I'm good. Well, why'd you leave? Because the next thing I was going to bring up, the next thing I wanted to talk about is Finnegan's truck, like how all that came about, who worked on it, that experience, Brian being the Uber Black driver for the whole experience. But now we have to wait for Brian to get back.
Yeah. I was about to start talking about it, but I was like, oh yeah, I need to talk into the microphone. That would probably help.
that blue truck, if we can talk about it for a little longer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I drove out to Louisiana to do that, and I was out there like 16 days total, I think it was.
Straight?
Yeah. So like the last day, it was getting to that time frame where it's like, I'm going home tonight or tomorrow. Like I'm going home. So I got up at probably around 7, went to the shop, worked on it all day that day. I finished, and I kind of made a deal with a buddy, like, hey, I'm out. Like the guy who owns the truck was like, I'll go ahead and clear it because I'm out here. Like that way you can got to bring a guy in, whatever. It's not a big deal, whatever. I'll just clear it. So I finished clearing the truck at like 5 o'clock in the morning, I think. So I'd worked all day, all night into the morning, finished at like 5 o'clock, went to his house, took a shower, got in the truck and drove like 9 or 10 hours or 11 hours
Wow.
home. Like,
Just made it a complete.
I'm like, I'm getting home tonight. Like,
Were you just like tired? You just want to be done?
yeah, I was just ready to go home, man. Like,
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
I feel like I could easily like just kept stretching out another day. You know, it's like,
you almost have to push yourself.
Yeah.
You're just like,
It's like-
yeah, I want to go home.
I'm going home.
This is what I need to get done to go home.
Yeah.
I'm getting this crap done.
Yeah. And then I did a truck that debuted here last year at Mini Nats.
Don't hit the table.
And
Nice, Tony.
We're both gonna be on you now.
you guys are gonna kill me about this freaking table thing. You guys sound like my girlfriend because I tap on everything, and you guys are like,
When you're tapping on everything and Frank does this, he adjusts this.
Well, that's my nervous tick, but at least my nervous tick doesn't hurt anything. I just like touching things.
I used to play drums, so in case like I tap on everything. So anyway,
Well, hold on. We're gonna talk about that.
so like I did a truck that debuted here last year, and literally, it wasn't my fault. They kept like not getting the truck painted on time, getting pushed out. I'm like, I leave for Mini Nats like on this day, and we have to. I don't know how long it's gonna take. It might take 2 days. It might take a week. I don't know. So I drove home on Monday, and Tuesday we left to come up here.
And that truck was here. It came to Mini Nats?
Yeah, it was a green Mazda that was in the Drop 'Em Wear booth last year.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Big Mazda.
Yeah. Oh cool. And you've worked on some cool trucks.
There's been a couple cool ones.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
awesome.
like 3 cover trucks. The Blue Explorer.
Yep.
The 2-door one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Dave C10.
Yep.
The Blue Dually. And Barsh's Dually. I mean, those are probably the big heavy hitters.
That's
cool.
Well, and there's one coming out here at Mini Nats this year too. That's gonna.
Oh really? Is it
yeah.
a surprise?
Mini truck.
It's gonna debut this year. Yeah.
nice.
in a couple
Well,
days.
you could just tell.
Yeah,
about
you
it
could tell us because this episode
airs
comes out.
after
Yeah,
it.
this is after
Oh,
Mini
you
Nats.
guys want to talk about that? Or you want to talk about Finnegan's truck or?
Well,
Let's
we'll
go with
get there.
Let's go with the Nissan.
Let's go. Yeah.
the one that you're working. I already know about.
You already know about these. All right, let me know about it.
So I just finished the hard body that I did the whole complete job. I stripped the truck to bare metal.
Now
Did
you
all.
got to quit doing that though.
I
Click, click, click. We need to. I'm going to include stress balls
Yeah, like little, little fidget spinners.
in the Pelican case with all the mics, so people that they could just.
You need to put like a list of rules on the wall so everybody knows like what not to do, right?
No tapping. No playing with water bottles.
Or you should,
And then when you do it, I just take a stick and I go.
or you should give me a heads up before we started this, not during it. So I just finished the hard body that I did the whole job on. Stripped the bare metal, did all the body work, all the paint work, full graphics, bed lined underneath. I mean the whole.
And you did that all yourself?
I did
Oh,
everything
cool.
myself. Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's very nice. It's a pretty nice truck.
Whose
So-
is it?
It's a guy named Matt Diaz. He lives like in the next town over from me. He
Okay.
hangs out with Severtise guys.
Have I seen this truck before? Am I familiar with it?
No.
No, I mean it was just like a white hard
Well,
body.
you have a picture of it, right?
Yeah, I can show you guys.
Yeah, show him.
Oh yeah.
Like right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, tomorrow.
I'm allowed to do that?
We're gonna put a picture of it in this.
Well, I figured that, but
Yeah.
I mean, 1 second.
No problem.
You're allowed to do that.
Oh, sick. Hell yeah, that's cool. I love the colors.
So-
Purple is an underrated color that not a lot of people use.
A little plug here. That's a Revolt color, Purple Rain. That's pretty sick in the sun and not the sun.
Revolt is a paint company?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Is that like who you work with?
That's Tammy's
Oh,
picture.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
She.
Well, I guess I shouldn't speak. Because I don't know that things changed on that end a lot.
No, that one's Tammy's.
That's been. Oh, that's right. Because she went. That's hers.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
So she helped me out with all the paint on that truck. It's all Revolt.
That's
from the
cool.
ground up,
Looks great. See that's what I'm talking about. Those graphics are cool. Those graphics are, this is sort of like a new young person thing to say is like you're doing too much. Like sometimes some graphics do too much.
Yeah.
Like this isn't doing too much. It's like clean and it flows. It makes sense. I was going to ask you about that, about your feelings about like graphic paint jobs that have like, obviously like some tribal and stuff in it, but then it has like ghost flames and checkers and like, just stuff on top of stuff and marbled this and like, do you find yourself not really attracted to that? Like,
I'm not a checkered board person at all. Ghost flames and stuff.
Sorry, my bad.
Ghost flames and stuff. I mean, I feel like it all can work if it's done, I'm not like the graphic police or anything. I mean, I can't. You know,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
I have my opinions. I have my opinions on stuff. You
I'm
know?
not the graphic police. Just, hey,
That's
man,
what this title is
do
going
whatever
to
you
be. Daniel Smith. I am not the graphics police.
want. I like that.
We're all trying
Here
to
we
get
are,
us
like,
to talk
there's
shit.
probably some dude who has a truck with little wispy,
Little
Yeah, his
graphics.
name is Mike Finnegan.
oh yeah, oh yeah. No, but
Because that's checkerboard on it too.
He does have
Yeah.
a little bit of everything on there.
Well, yeah. So let's jump into that. Let's talk about that. I know about it because you like explained it to me and stuff. But walk me through that whole thing, that whole process.
That was an interesting week. The funniest part was I was the Uber driver, and we didn't know each other were there, right? Or
No, I think I knew. I think Matt told me you were coming to film the whole thing.
yeah, but maybe I didn't know that I was picking you guys up or something like
Well,
that.
explain
That
what
part you
was
probably
happening.
didn't know.
Explain what was happening. What was the whole like
So
event?
Yeah.
So Tammy, who now owns Revolt Auto Paint or Automotive Paint, I don't know if I'm phrasing it. It's Revolt.
Yeah.
We'll start with that. Mm-hmm. She used to run Tamco, was a paint company, and they did like this big paint event for like a week long, and Matt was like it's kind of like Matt's
Coordinator.
coordinator, I guess you would say, of painting Finnegan's truck. Mm-hmm. And so there was like all these classes going on, but like me, Matt, and Steve Nilsson was our main jobs or for the week was painting Finnegan's
Yeah,
truck.
there was a
Doing I wouldn't say
inflatable booth.
painting it, but doing the graphics on it.
Yeah, there was an inflatable booth set up, and then
Yeah.
all around the inflatable booth there was classes going on. So there was airbrushing classes, and there was this classes. So Gooch was teaching classes, and these other people were teaching classes.
Okay, see, I didn't know that part. I thought it was simply just painting
Nope.
Finnegan's
It
truck.
was just during that 4 or 5 day event that the Finnegan truck thing was going on.
I see. How did Finnegan's truck come into play in this? Did someone hit him up? Or?
Yeah, Steve Nielsen hit him. Like,
Yeah.
Steve Nielsen hit him up, and
I think Matt kind of was like, "Hey, it'd be cool if we could do a truck," or maybe Tammy was.
yeah, and then like whose truck, and then they thought about Finnegan's because Finnegan's well known mini trucker.
Yeah.
Has a following. Da 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 da. So yeah, then that used to be Alex Anderson's truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So, anyways, it got there, and then was it Monday that we started that, or Sunday? I know me and Matt drove straight from SoCal to Virginia, and then got there the next day. They're like, go pick up these people from this Airbnb. So I just like pulled up, and I was like waiting.
And you had like a black Suburban, right?
Yeah, like a black Suburban. Like,
Yeah.
I was the Uber. Oh man, never mind. LA's leading now.
Yes.
8-7.
Yes. Go ahead. Go on.
All right. Yeah. And then so I went to this Airbnb, and then him and Gooch and a bunch of people walked out, and it was just kind of funny.
And did you guys know each other before
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Okay, so okay. Because I've only really met you in the past
Probably the
few
last
years.
few years, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of come to mini nats. I did think I met you one time at Slam Fest a long, long time ago, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, spent a week painting Finnegan's graphics on his truck. Him, Matt, Gooch, and it got to the point where everyone was involved. Like there was people in there just taping, and it was
And it actually didn't get finished.
No, it didn't get finished. It got finished. Went back to Matt's shop and got finished. Yeah.
All the graphics got laid down. Basically, they all need to be back taped and the black sprayed and then like pinstriped and.
That was the first time I learned that some paint jobs are like that. Like, well, some paint jobs like the Dooley start off as a single color and you add the graphics. But when you start fresh, you actually do the graphics first, then paint it the primary color, so to speak, right? Is that is that just like a matte thing, or is that like
No, you can. I mean, there's it's just a preference. Each painter. This truck I just finished, I was gonna do it that way, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what? I think I want to get it all in base coat and get it cleared and locked down, and then so I was gonna do it that way because it was I was starting from nothing. But it's just every painter or artist or whatever I think
just
can do it
different
their own way.
preference?
Yeah.
Is it not? It doesn't add any or take away any difficulty doing it that
It
way?
can, yeah. So like on that particular truck we did for Finnegan, so the truck was black, or was going to be black.
It was white to begin
and so
with,
it started as white, right? So every graphic color we put down had to have white underneath it anyway. So it made sense to just like, well, the truck's already white. Why don't we just leave it
I
white,
see.
tape off the stuff, and then we'll come back and back tape everything. So if in that instance, it was the right thing. I wouldn't say the right thing to do, but it was probably the fastest thing to do. Where if you're not on a time crunch, it's kind of just a preference type of thing. But most bright colors need like a white underneath them, so
that's what I was
kind
gonna
of
say. So like, so that the base color shows through the graphics in those cases. Like if you started with a dark, like if you started with that truck painted purple, then that's going to be the base of most of the graphics. It's purple.
Started with let me understand what you're saying here.
Yeah. So if the truck is painted one color, which is purple, so Finnegan's truck started off white.
Right.
So all of the base of the graphics had white underneath of it.
Right.
So now you have a purple truck. Now you're starting with the base of the graphics
underneath.
all purple.
Yeah.
I see.
And I mean, if you're spraying like black down, it won't be a problem. But if you're painting like yellow over black, it's going to take like freaking 15
Yeah,
coats
because
for
it's
it to
like
cover.
painting a house. So if you want to paint it, if your walls are all white and you're trying to paint, the white's going to show through.
You mean the other way around? If you have a black wall and you're trying to paint it white, the black is going to still
black.
keep.
Yeah, like you said, if it's black and then you want to paint it yellow, it's going to take a lot of coats to get it to that yellow.
I see.
So you start with white and it makes everything.
And also to backpedal, if supposedly we're supposed to get the truck where it was like ready to start doing graphics on it.
Yeah,
I heard about that.
Well, it wasn't.
It was
Like
just
everything.
Everything was just the truck was there, and so we had to take it all apart, take all the glass out of it, and
do body work.
Oh, even body work
It's
on
like
top of it?
40 degrees out, so stuff's not
freezing.
wanting to
Oh my
dry.
Gosh, wow.
Yeah, so
Everything that could be against us was against us.
and then that last day, like, it was it Friday or Saturday?
I don't remember what days we were there.
I know the classes was midweek, but I just remember like the morning we showed up. I looked at Matt. I said, "I'm going home today."
Similar to your situation. Yeah.
And I said, "I don't care if you're going with me or you're not going with me.
Or you can fly
I don't care if
home."
the truck's going with me." I said, "I'm driving this rental car that I picked up in Phoenix back to Phoenix."
Uh-huh.
And he's like, "Okay." So like towards the end of the day, I went to a U-Haul and we were going to rent a trailer to drive it back to put the truck on and tow it, even though we weren't supposed to tow with the rental car, but it had a hitch on it. Mm-hmm. So I went to U-Haul and I was like, I need to rent this trailer. And they're like, how many days? I'm all, 2. They're like, where are you going? I'm all, Phoenix. They're like, if you leave here to go to Phoenix, we have to rent it to you for a week.
What? Really?
Yeah, they won't rent it to you. And I was like, no, I'm going to be in Phoenix. I'm driving. Like, they're like, no, we can't do it.
Interesting.
So it was going to cost this extraordinary amount of money. So I was like, well, and the racetrack that the thing was at, they were like, get out of here.
They were over it too.
Drive the truck with no windshield in it, barely not finished, down to some place around the corner to store it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm leaving. And me and Matt drove straight home.
Yeah. So the
truck got transported to Matt's shop, and he finished it.
Who brought it back?
I drove it to me. I took it to Finnegan's.
No. Who drove it from Virginia back to SoCal?
They had it transported.
Oh, just some other person.
So that was probably the day after the class ended, because I remember about midday, I think we were just like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna.
Because like the first day, everyone's confident. The second day, I'm like, and then by that final midday, I was like, yeah, this ain't getting done. Nah.
Yeah.
That seems to happen a lot.
And there was a lot going on that week that was just.
There was a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of things we're not going to talk about here and all this stuff, but nothing bad. It was
As like a painter, or as in my aspect of it, it was like the most stressful, unplanned headache.
There was lack
good
of
time,
Lack of management.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
late hours,
unnecessary late hours.
fun, but then like fun, good time, great experience, ready to do it again. Like
I'm gonna have a hot take, and don't get offended, and no painters get offended. But you also had a group of painters who, painters are
the majority
interested.
of us are all procrastinators.
That's what I was gonna say. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, because painters are not very efficient.
No, they're
Look,
only efficient.
I haven't been called a bodybuilder, but I've been called a procrastinator. Okay.
You want to know? Do you want to know when a painter? It's $10 to $7.
I
by
know.
the way,
I'm watching.
A painter is very efficient when they have to go home that day.
Oh, that's when everybody starts focusing in.
Oh, they're fast as shit. I've seen it I'm like, damn, you
Yeah.
could have done that like this whole time.
Yeah, when you have to get something done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, the truck got done and it turned out really good.
Was it a fun event though? Like generally was fun.
Yeah, I had a good time. I mean, I did it. Well, I was supposed to go do it again right before here, but just I had some personal stuff going on, and just it was bad timing. And I told Tammy I had to dip out this time. So But yeah, I did it 2 other times.
That's cool.
Never signed up to paint a truck in a week though, unless that truck is ready to go.
Yeah. It always seems like that.
Even then, I mean, I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's still tough. And even like you would think like, oh, you got more guys. It's not really gonna make it any. It almost slows it down.
Well, yeah, because people kind of like going over each other. And stuff.
And everybody does stuff different, and
Matt aggressively paints under hoods.
What does that mean?
I remember one point. I don't know if Matt listens or not, but I remember one point where like I'm telling him how I'm gonna do it something one way, and he's like, "That's not gonna work." I'm like, "No, I'm setting myself up where I do this, that, and it we done. And then when we untape everything, like 3 things will be done. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work." I'm like, "It's gonna work." And Tammy's like right there, and then he just like wanted to fight with me on it a little bit, And then like the next day, I said, "I'd do it." And I was like, "See, I told you." And Tammy's like, "Yeah, he told me it would work. He just didn't want to agree with you."
Oh, that's Matt. Yeah,
That sounds exactly
that
like
sounds
Matt.
like Matt. Yeah,
But
that's good.
it was cool. I had never met Matt until that event, and he was cool to me.
He's a chill
I don't have
dude.
anything
Matt's a
bad to
great
say
guy.
about anybody, but not him. So
There's just a bunch of talented people there that day.
There was.
It was really cool.
and yeah, that whole week. And the cool thing was like nobody had an attitude. Nobody had like an ego. Like it was,
That's cool.
I think graphic painters and artists like that understand that everyone does things differently.
Yeah.
So you can't say like that's the wrong way or this is the wrong way. It's just like, oh, that's your way to do it.
Yeah, but there's some that don't want to share nothing. Or don't want to talk to people, or
That goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there are people like that. Definitely. Do you have your own shop?
Yeah.
In Florida?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
What's it? And that's obviously duh. Well, what's it called?
I don't know.
Sorry, you're all. It's called A1 Auto Body is what it's called. No, it's called Smithworkx, and it's in Tampa, Florida, right?
Yeah, it's actually it's Lakeland, but just outside of Tampa.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool. The drumming thing. You're a drummer?
I was. I mean, I grew up playing drums, and I played till I was probably like in my mid-20s, and then kind of.
In bands and stuff, or
I was in a band in my late 20s. Yeah.
Punk rock, or
We played like rock stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Are you what kind of music you into? Punk rock guy?
No, I like
Top 40s, easy listening.
I like a little bit of everything. To be honest with you, I can't do the metal stuff. Not into that really.
Like the
but
heavy screamos type stuff.
I don't like that. But
that's tough.
I like good rap, older rap.
Okay.
I like country, but I don't really like the radio country. I like more like the old sound, like Hank.
Like not the
Yeah,
poppy
so-
country that's up now.
Nothing newer than like 1975, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some guys
All right,
out
now
there.
you got to stop doing with the water bottle thing.
Jeez, man, this is
There's so many rules.
down.
there is some newer stuff that has like the old sound to it. That those are like the guys I tend to lean towards.
Yeah,
Cool. Were you?
There's a little bit of poppy stuff. I wouldn't call it poppy, but there's some newer guys that
that's good.
like, let's just say Morgan Wallen, like kind of got sucked into that a little bit,
I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest.
Yeah, it's country guys. But I'll go see.
I'm not a country guy. I'm actually very like anti, not a country dude.
But I'll go see anybody. Like I love concerts. I'll go to any kind. It doesn't matter what kind of concert it is. I'll go to it.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Live music is live music.
Were
Yeah,
you?
I love live music.
Were you like in band in high school?
No,
No.
I just started playing drums early on, like probably like the first grade, and that was just what I did.
Drums are kind of interesting. Like I'm not a musician at all, but I love music, and it seems to me that like drums are always like, it's like with a guitar, you just kind of pick up a guitar and you start playing. Like drums are you have to be like into it to get like a drum kit and do all that.
Yeah, I wish I could play the guitar. To be honest with you, like I wish I could just pick up a guitar and play.
Just sing a little tune.
That's what I wish I could do, but I'm not that guy.
Do you still play? You still mess around?
I haven't played in probably 10 years.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah,
cool.
musical instruments is something I wish I would have done.
I tried playing guitar. I just didn't.
I've tried to play the guitar a couple times and I cannot
In 6th grade,
figure it out.
I signed up to be, was it 6th grade? Yeah, for drum lessons. And I had to buy this little drum pad. And I was like, no, I want a drum kit.
Right.
You start on this drum pad, you get your things down. And I did that for like a week, and I was like, this sucks. I want a drum kit. I quit.
Yeah.
And then in high school, my buddy played guitar really good. So I was trying to learn how to play guitar, and I was like, I just did not have I could not, the finger stretching and like I just have zero patience for it. I just want to be cool and play an instrument.
I just want girls. Well, drummers don't get any girls, so.
No, the drummers get all the girls.
I thought the drummers don't get any girls.
No,
the bass girls.
Some of them do.
The girls like the drummers
Yeah.
more than
Oh.
any of the band members.
Look at Tommy Lee. I mean, he's
Yeah,
Yeah,
Travis Barker.
Yeah.
Travis Barker.
Yeah, like the girls like the drummers.
Okay. The bass player doesn't get any
Yeah, the
girls?
bass
The
player. I was
bass
like,
player. See, and that's where I think I could play in any band. Because I could go boom, 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 because you can't hear it anyways.
yeah, you can't.
You're just faking it. as well.
You don't even have to. You don't even have to be plugged in. Nobody even knows he's.
No, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I played it when I played Rock Band. I could do really good in that.
Yeah,
The
I
video
couldn't play
game?
that either.
No.
I'm just
So
not
I
musically-
got like mad like with the school band type thing. Like I was pretty good when I was younger. So like in 7th or 8th grade, like if you went to this, so I took band, right? But all the other kids did like a summer band. Well, I'm like, I'm not spending my summer going to band class. You know what I'm saying? So I get in band class like in regular school, and like I'm better than all the guys that are getting to play like all the lead stuff, whatever. I'm like, nah, I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
good.
I'm out. That's funny.
I'm like, not spending my summers here with you guys. So
So,
Oh,
sorry, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, how close is your Tahoe to being done?
That,
Were you about to ask that same
I was like,
question?
what's up with your Tahoe?
Yeah. Well, hey,
Hey.
I gotta check my notes, by the way.
Yeah. See if
It's-
we're-
It just says bodybuilder.
body work.
Body work. Oh, maybe
Body
that's
work.
where I got confused.
Yeah.
But anyway, your Tahoe. Where are we at with that? And then I have another follow-up question too after the Tahoe.
it's like most of the fab work's done. I'm finishing up like the rear floor right now in it. Motors in it, dashes in it. Like it'll like try to start, but it needs fuel lines and injectors and stuff in it.
no graphics.
Nah. If I do graphics on it, it'll be something like Barsha style or like the board you guys got.
Oh.
Well, hold on.
It'll be something that's it won't be like a mini truck paint job at all.
Yeah.
It'll be something. I'm kind of going for like a pro touring, like super clean,
Oh, okay.
super straight, clean gaps. Like that's kind of, as much as I'm a graphic guy, I have a lot of respect for like the hot rod painters who like just dial in like the gaps and the
Yeah.
clear super flat. And so this truck I just finished, it's not like on like $100,000 paint job level, but I took a lot of time like gapping some of the stuff, and nothing's been DA'd. It's all been hard blocked, and so that's what I'm trying to do on the Tahoe is like make it that super clean.
It's interesting how like not your main thing, but you do a lot of graphics and stuff like that. And it's interesting what people who do things over and over and over, what they tend to gravitate towards, and that's what you're like. Oh, like you see these guys doing this thing, you're like, I really like that. You know?
Yeah.
You could do the baddest graphics on this truck, but
Yeah.
you're like, no, I want to do something different.
Yeah.
Do you have a
it's-
color picked out?
Yeah. There's like a Porsche, like a tealish color that I kind of like, but I've changed my mind like 4 times. So by the time I finish this thing, who knows what color it'll be. It's black right now, factory black. It's going to be black for a while because I just want to get it running and driving and
Right.
enjoy it for a while. I don't really care what it looks like. And then I'll do some body mods and paint it. And
Cool.
so, but it's probably about 75% there, I guess.
Nice.
Most
What motor did you put in it?
It just has a stock. So when I bought the Tahoe, it was just a shell. Like it didn't have a motor. The frame was bent, no interior. So I've literally had to source out like every freaking thing for this thing. So it just has a stock 5.3 in it. That was like in
Okay.
another.
I thought you said motor swap. That's why I was asking what kind of...
No. It has a stock like a 5.3 that came out of a wreck Silverado that I had. So it's just stock motor, and it's 26s, stock floored.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are big wheels.
Yeah, and a lot of work comes with that on a Tahoe,
Yeah.
on a SUV. You know, tubbing the door jams, making the latches work, all that crap.
Are you pretty proficient at like fab and
Yeah.
suspension design and stuff?
Yeah. So, like I worked at Jimmy's Rod and Customs for a while, so I'm not a motor guy. I don't know a lot about motors, but suspensions, I can build a front clip. I can build control arm. On the Tahoe, I built all the control arms, all the rear suspension, all the, it's 3/4 frame, but I did the control arms, bag mounts. I built the frame, all the sheet metal work.
That's super
a
cool.
lot.
Yeah, I mean, I can do all that. I used to do like fab work for customers too, but it's kind of hard to do both. At least
Yeah,
for me.
you
You got to
just
kind
gotta
of
stick
pick
with
one and
Yeah,
just
so.
do that. Even doing graphics, it's just like, do you want to do all the body work and stuff?
Yeah.
It's like, which one do you really want to concentrate on?
So I feel like I'm a better painter than I am like a fab guy because I'm not like I don't have like a plasma table and I'm not a guy that can build a quarter panel from scratch. You know, like I'm not that kind of guy. But
You're not like out English
yeah,
wheeling.
I mean,
something.
I can build a front clip. I can build a 4-link. I can build a frame. I mean, so
That's cool. Well, cool. Well, let's talk about this skateboard we got here. Jenny was nice enough to paint us this. I don't know. You can zoom in on this, right?
Let me see it.
Yeah. Take it over there. It's and for our audio listeners, it's a fish. Is that a fish like shape? What do they call that shape?
Bought that shit on Amazon.
you have to ask Brian. Brian sent it to me, so I asked him the details
so
on
now,
that.
so what I do is I just send Daniel a skateboard every once in a while, and then it just sits there and he stares at it and he goes, "What do you want to do with this?" I'm like, "Whatever you want to do with it."
Yeah.
So now that this one's done, I'll just Amazon him another one.
Okay, but what's the shape?
Oh, it's just an old school board.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's like a fish shape.
I like when I do boards for anything, I like doing old school. Cause
Yeah, that's
I'm,
like your.
I'm an old man,
style.
and this is old man skateboard. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at that thing. You brought it in, and I really didn't get to stare at it much. It's so super sick.
Now, are these the colors that you used on the Nissan?
Maybe a couple of them.
Maybe all of them. You're just like,
I
you can always tell when a painter does a board or something like that because you look at the most recent truck they painted,
And it's the same
and you
color.
look at the board, and you're like, "That's leftover paint."
So I kind of get into like, I get like color schemes that like I kind of use, you know, like you start liking color schemes and kind of like them, use them for a while, and you're like, all right, I gotta do something different. or-
So the thing is we're gonna give this away.
Yes.
We're gonna give this away this weekend, and when this episode comes up, Minneapolis is already gone. So congrats to the truck that we picked out.
And we will put the truck that we picked out in this episode.
There you go. So this is the truck we picked out.
It's right here. See? Isn't it a cool?
It's great. It's so cool. Congratulations to insert name here.
Yeah.
And his winning of this, her winning.
It's Jeff. We'll pick Jeff's truck.
Yeah, here you go, Jeff. So thanks, man. That's super, super freaking cool.
Yeah, thanks for letting me do it.
Yeah,
It's fun.
it's awesome.
I mean, we'll let you do anything you want.
I know. Thanks for. He's all.
Wait. It's going to fall.
He's all. Hey, yeah. Thanks for having me make this badass thing for you.
He's like,
like we should be
I
like
know.
thanking him. He's not thanking us.
I know. I like when it's just like, "Hey, can you take the time out of your day and like skillfully do this for us to give to somebody?" Yeah. Don't put your name on it either.
Yeah, but didn't Rose Metalworks just do some stuff for you guys or for you or something?
For me specifically.
I was like,
I feel like that took way more time than what that board did, but
Really? I would.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't know. I don't do
What,
bead
how
rolling.
long?
like
How long? Do you just like work on it here and there, or did you like bust it out?
that. I don't know. Yeah, I probably got 4 hours in it, maybe.
That's 4 hours worth. Wow, you don't want to know what I do with 4 hours worth of work. You'd be like, "That's it."
you didn't do anything. Well, I know.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Rose did a panel for him, and
Yeah.
but tagged both of us. So I was waiting for my panel.
Your panel to show up.
Hey, I'm like, did you have him do that? He goes, no, he just did it. And I was like,
You know, that's cool.
that's cool.
Well, we really appreciate it. Thanks, Sean. Yeah. So the last thing, maybe the last thing, maybe not the last thing. Your clothing company. that
Yes,
you have.
this is where we need.
Yeah. tell us about that.
So I had more than what I told you guys about.
Oh, really?
I think.
Oh,
Well, I know I showed you guys the old mini truck stuff.
Yeah.
Like that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was
that-
it called?
That was called Solo Wear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was actually a playoff. Like back in the day, like there was like SoCal was like a brand.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
SoCal, and it was like a playoff that.
Well, because it makes me think, because like when I was a kid, there was Solo. Like I used to wear these pants called, and they were made by this brand called Solo Wear.
Oh really?
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
yeah, well, no, yeah. That's why I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Oh, did you make the pants I wore?
And so what got you into?
And that was also before, because there was like a Solo Films, right?
Yeah,
That was before that came out.
yeah, that.
yeah, that's French's company.
Yeah, that's Frenchie's, and that's
Yeah.
because what year? What first of all, why did you start? Was that something you were just like, I want to make some money in the scene?
No,
Or
so
just kind of like,
I wanted to like. I was in like my early 20s, so I was like not long out of high school, and I wanted to start a company or a business or something, and my dad was willing to kind of help me out. And so originally we were gonna do. Well, let me backpedal a little bit. In high school, I always wanted to do like clothing brand, like but like a surf brand or like a skate brand or whatever. Like that's what I wanted to do. But I didn't have the money. Hard to find how to do a clothing brand back then, you know.
You just knew you wanted to do it.
Yeah. So fast forward a little bit older, going heavy in the truck scene. And my dad was willing to help me to try to do like a business or whatever. So originally we were going to do kind of like a Suicide Doors, Thorbeck Brothers, like do brackets and control arms and that. So I dove pretty hard into that, getting ready to, make brackets and bag brackets and sell bushings and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Well, I go to a show. I don't remember what show it was, but we parked like across from Drop and Wear. And I see like guys at Drop and Wear booth like all weekend long.
You're like
nonstop. Mm-hmm. So I get back home. I'm like, Dad, I think maybe we should just do like a t-shirt brand. Not everybody's got like $1,500 for a set of control arms, but they probably got $20-25 for a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like maybe we should do that. So my dad passed away, but he's been to shows with me all over the country. I mean, literally almost everywhere. So I think he went to like the next show with me and kind of seen the same thing, So he's like, all right, I'm willing to help you out. Let's dive into it, whatever. So I had already been researching the clothing brand stuff prior to that. So basically I found
now he's catching on.
I found a t-shirt distributor. I found the screen printer. I found an artist. I
was going to ask you, you didn't screen print your own t-shirts?
No. I knew nothing about screen printing back then.
You just wanted to design it.
Yeah, so I had like I can't do graphic design either, but I had the ideas. I had the a list of what the shirts were gonna say, what truck to put on, blah blah blah, all that. So we did Solo Wear, and at the time when we came out, the only brand that was out was Drop and Wear. Now I think we went to Scraping that year, and I think that was the same time that KIK came out. So like, I had never seen KIK
05-ish.
Yeah, I had never seen KIK at a show until we were at Scraping, and I think they had like a small little tent. We had our tent, whatever. So at the time, it was just Drop and Wear. I was the only one that was out. So we did it. We had probably like 7 or 8 designs out. We hit, literally we went to Texas Heat Waves, Show Fests. Scraping.
And you were selling shirts.
Yeah, we were doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So, there was, I think the internet was out, but it wasn't like no social media or none of that.
Yeah, people weren't relying on it to like.
Yeah.
Like MySpace days, kind of like.
It was getting.
It was before MySpace.
It was before MySpace. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did it for probably like a year and a half. And at the time, I had a full-time job, so like I would get off on like Friday. My dad would have the truck and trailer ready to go, hop in the truck, and we'd go wherever, and then come home and. I think I had Mondays off, so I didn't have to rush to get back. But so then my parents decided to move out of state, and my dad didn't want to really put any more money into it. I was like, Dad, we need a website. We need to do a website. And he's like, we were making money, but we weren't like, he was just tired of putting money into it. Yeah. So it kind of fizzled out once they moved away because I couldn't drive out of state, and come back and work and that kind of thing. Yeah. So
that's cool though that he supported you and was like putting some effort into it. That's really cool.
Yeah, my dad was a car guy, so I grew up in old cars, and he's been to almost every show with me. Detroit, LST. The only thing I didn't get to take him to was SEMA, but he's been all over with me. He's got he had a C10 when he passed away and stuff.
Cool.
So him seeing you being successful in the paint stuff was really cool.
Yeah. Him, like it was like a couple cover magazine, cover trucks gone. Yeah. It was cool. So
yeah, that's really cool to see because like we kind of take. Well, I guess we don't because we grew up with magazines, but I think if you're a little younger, then you take being on a magazine cover or in a magazine, like how special that is.
Yeah.
They're only going to ever if a magazine came out once a month for 12 months forever, there's still only so many of them that are ever going to get made.
Yeah.
So it's to be on the cover, your work to be on the cover, whether it's you painted the vehicle, built the vehicle, shot the vehicle or whatever, it's super cool.
Right. Yeah, and like my dad being supportive, like my dad never ever like bashed or criticized like cutting up a perfectly good drivable truck, like I did that a couple of times, and he was always, I built some trucks, and he was always cool with me cutting it up and going to shows, and
Would you ever? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna to back to the clothing thing. Would you ever think about like restarting a brand or just kind of like?
I almost did a couple of years ago. I kind of wanted to do it. I kind of wanted to do like a flannel brand because there was only the big one is like Dixon. Like, so I had an idea, kind of tossed it around, started looking into it a little bit, and I was just like, I don't have the time or energy to go after this. So just kind of, and it's so hard to make it like.
It's a diluted market.
Yeah.
And especially the flannel stuff. The flannel, like everyone saw Dixon was being successful at it, and they're like, I could do this, and they started doing flannels, and then Dixon kind of was like, oh, I'm also going to do this because I know the flannel thing is going to get, and then I mean half of that is marketing, more than half. of it is marketing.
Yeah.
It's like
Dixon's really good at marketing.
Yeah. So like that's if you know how to market, it doesn't really matter. The rest of it doesn't matter. Because that's my thing. I'm terrible at the marketing thing and trying to figure all that out. Like,
yeah. So I started another little brand like after that, like probably around 2015-ish, maybe 14, 15-ish. I could be wrong on that, but somewhere around that time frame. And it was like it was called Solvent Clothing, and it was just like a surfer.
That's a cool name.
A surfer skate type stuff.
Yeah.
And I came out with I had about 4 designs, but I didn't have the money to market it right or do the stuff I wanted to do, and just kind of fizzled out. So.
And growing up in Florida, did you like surf a lot, skate a lot?
I used to ski and wakeboard and all that a lot. Wake surf and yeah.
Were you close to the beach where you lived?
Yeah, we're like about 2.5 hours to like the Daytona side.
Okay.
And then about an hour to like Clearwater, St. Pete. So we're kind of like right in the middle almost.
Oh, right on.
So.
Spent a lot of time at the beach and stuff? Or?
Yeah.
Cool.
And my buddy has a lake house, so that's where...
I was going to say Lakeland.
Yeah.
A lot of lakes.
There's a lot of lakes, so... I
They
spent a lot of time at my buddy's lake house.
That's cool.
Growing up and wake surfing and wakeboarding and all that, so...
Awesome.
I've only surfed a couple times, but...
Surfing's freaking hard, man. It's so freaking hard.
Yeah.
It looks easy.
It's not. It's not at all.
When we started, like... When we were younger, we'd wakeboard. Like, so Graham used to live in Florida... And he used to come to the lake with us a lot. So we used to wakeboard pretty hard. We'd be at the lake like all weekend, at my buddy's lake house. And then we're like still like kind of like in our probably late 20s, maybe creeping on 30 a little bit. So we're wakeboarding pretty hard. Well, then like those falls start to like wear on you a little bit. It's like, man, you're hurting for the next couple of days. So then we got in the wake surfing where it's like, oh, if you fall, it don't hurt. You're good. So we kind of just transferred into that and did a lot more of that. But
Graham, did you grow up with Graham, or he just kind of like lived in that area?
Yeah, not probably like 20-ish on.
Okay.
Yeah, he lived about an hour away from me. We were in the same truck club.
Yeah, he was in Mini Madness.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we met, and we hung out. And
Is there a lot of Mini Madness still around? It's an old club. It's been around for,
yeah. I don't want to talk bad about anything.
Not bad about it. It's just
everybody just gets older and they have lives and just.
Well, and when clubs don't expand sometimes, because sometimes the expanded clubs, like the chapters, they'll kind of hold the reins a little bit, and while this over here is kind of like doing this thing, and then it kind of works back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so, that always interests me. Like when clubs have been around for so long, it's just, interesting to me.
There's not a lot of Mini Madness vehicles.
But there's people that are still in the scene that still go to shows, and sometimes
I would say there's.
Are they still throwing Slam Fest?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jonathan Hawkins and all them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well,
Well, I'm tired.
you're calling it quits.
No, I'm not calling it quits.
Oh.
I'll keep on going.
Oh.
But we're an hour and 45 in. We didn't.
Wow. Yeah, that was good.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Because you always, it's funny because sometimes, not all the time, it's about every 3 months, me and him will go on a text back and forth, and then 3 months later, text back and forth. But there's some episodes you'll message me and you'll go, da-da-da-da about that episode, and we'll just have a little bit of a laugh.
Do you have anything in particular about a previous episode that we need correcting on?
No. Nothing we can really talk about publicly.
Okay, all right. Well,
No, just funny things like that. But is there anything that you came here that you want to talk about specifically that we did not cover?
I don't think so. Not really. The paint stuff was a big thing, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah. And Smithworkx.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
I've been around. I've been around for a long time, but I was really quiet in the early days.
Yeah.
So
It's time for Smithworkx to make it. They're just going to bust
mark.
out.
it's I'm just doing my thing, and
Yeah.
either like it or you don't like it.
No, hey, that I like that.
Yeah.
Just do your thing, man.
I think most people like it. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see after this weekend. See how they like this last one.
Oh, I think people are gonna.
I don't think
dig it.
anyone's going to be like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah, imagine some dude walks up to you and he's like, "Nah."
Yeah. No. It's kind of crappy.
And I'm not that guy either. Like, I don't think everything I do is like great. Like, I'm not,
Yeah. No, you seem like a pretty humble dude.
I'm just doing what I do. And
Yeah.
to be honest, I could never paint another mini truck again and be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I was
really?
gonna, okay, that's
Or I'll keep doing them. It kind of is what it is.
Because you've dabbled in the clothing and all that stuff, and you kind of dabbled back into it, and then you've done the paint and the bikes. What is the thing that you like to do the most? Is it the bikes, the trucks,
If I could do if I could have my choice, I would be a helmet painter, and I would paint helmets.
Because we talked about that before. Is that something that you're probably gonna do?
I've did a couple. I've did a handful of them, and every time I do one, it's like I think this is gonna get me somewhere. It never does.
What about awards? Painting awards.
I do awards too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I could not paint any more of those and be happy to.
I remember what was the weren't you painting awards for Rolling in the Red Rocks? And,
Yeah.
like they were barely dry, and you put them on the plane. Like what was
Yeah, I
that?
did a couple of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awards are interesting because I would think, because I know throwing our show how much we pay for awards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we go through a guy that makes them every single day, so it's just like clockwork to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we pay for them. So, but like hand painted awards, like I mean, Scraping the Coast they did a crazy amount of hand painted awards. So like the cost of that is quite a bit.
Yeah.
So like you can't just be painting 50 awards for X amount of dollars a piece. Like if you're doing that, that's quite a bit of.
Yeah, awards are kind of tricky because it's like obviously these promoters don't have. I'm not gonna say they don't have the money to spend a lot,
Yeah,
but
they're making deals.
yeah, a lot of them are deals, and it's like, okay, I'm putting my name on this. How much time do I want to spend on it?
Yeah.
And you kind of I don't even look at how much I'm getting paid. Really, it's just like.
Something you doing, like kind of like giving back to the.
It's like I try to make them as nice as I can in the time frame and the money I'm getting, without going, well, that looks like crap.
Yeah.
And without being like 5 days into one piece,
I've never met a painter that goes, man, I love doing awards. Because it's just not a.
Yeah, well, I don't think it'd be like a lucrative thing to be into.
And if I'm giving you my honest opinion, I don't even know if I should be saying this or not. But
Oh, we like these though. We like these.
I feel like the custom painted awards are kind of getting played out.
Yeah, there are a lot of them out there.
It seems like almost every show.
Awards are one of those things where you have metal awards, you have acrylic awards, whatever. Like we use our artwork for our awards.
Yeah.
So the awards are different every year. And then you have like LST where the awards are the same every year. And I like that because it's almost like a Grammy or an Oscar. Once if you see that award sitting on a mantle, it's an LST award.
Yeah.
If you see an acrylic award, you have to go, you read it and you see which one it is because they're not similar, but there's a lot of acrylic awards out there. So but then the hand painted awards, a lot like the skateboards were being done quite a bit, and then
Panels and
panels is a weird one too to me.
The panels is a weird one to me because of the sheer size of them. Like, like the LSC, for example. Like, it's this really cool trophy. You can put it up, somewhere. But when you have this giant panel, like, what are you gonna do with it?
yeah.
I don't know.
You put it up in your shop.
Well,
Like, if you're like an office dude, you're gonna put it in your office, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm just maybe not talking out my rear.
But to me, like a panel or a skate deck or something like that's easy. But if you give me like some of these shows, like I had one show, they wanted me to paint. Well, I painted, and I like the guys that throw the show. They don't throw it anymore, but a skull or a cow skull and a lantern. It's like, what am I supposed to do on this thing?
That's a little hard. Yeah.
I
I did them, and they're great guys. I'm
The
not
Scraping the Coast ones
them.
were cool because they did the big surfboards and
Yeah.
stuff, and it kind of was a theme with that.
And that's where I think like that was cool, and it was cool for a while. But now it's like, seems like almost every one of these shows are doing
every show tries
And-
to be different, and then sometimes different isn't the best, and that's why I just like going with like our artwork on the acrylic. Yeah.
And
And
I get-
Perfect Poise at Cruise of the Pines does a really cool thing where they have different shops and different people.
Yeah, that is really
They
cool.
give them a skate deck and they say, do whatever you want with this.
Yeah.
And so a bunch of different painters. So you're not taking one painter and saying, here's 50 awards, paint them. It's just like, here's one award.
Yeah.
And I think that's better on the painter too, because it's just like, it's one award. There's
Yeah, they're not like.
there's not a bunch of pressure to do a
Yeah.
bunch of these awards and take a week out of their time to do them or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I would prefer to do like 2 or 5 or 1.
or none.
I feel like you can make that nicer, and then you start doing like.
And you take pride in that one award.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, oh, I'm going to make this thing sick.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, cool. But if you have to do 50, you're like, I have to do 50.
Now I'm probably gonna wait till about 3 days before the show, regardless.
Yeah.
But
There's that painter procrastination again.
Yeah.
but yeah. And I've been told shows that like I do stuff for them, like these painted awards are kind of getting played out a little bit.
Just because you don't want to do them.
Not that, it's just my opinion. You know,
Yeah,
like I
no.
feel like.
But what was it you who were telling me that like you were that procrastination thing again? You like cleared an award right
That was
before
Graham's
and put on
show.
the,
Yeah.
and then you put it on the plane.
Yeah.
And then your luggage was like smelling like
Yeah.
automotive paint.
Yeah.
Just getting the whole plane high.
Let's see. One year I painted one. I think the first year he did, I painted one panel for him, and I literally cleared it like that day. I think my flight was at like 6 or something in the evening. I cleared it at like 11 or something in the afternoon. Threw it in the sun.
That's what
Went
I was
home,
talking
packed my
about.
stuff up, whatever. Went back to
Yeah.
the shop, wrapped it in a blanket, and threw it in the overhead.
That's the one. That's
Graham,
the story.
And Graham
yeah.
had 2 painters do his best. Like you did a best of.
Yeah.
And Jen, right? So you had one from Canada and one from Florida, literally super far places away. Bring these panels all the
Yeah.
way to
Yeah.
St. George, Utah.
It was cool. Cool story.
And then this last year, we shipping them was going to cost like a lot because they're pretty heavy, and in the time frame of like, well, I have to have them done like way sooner if I ship them. I will still want to play with us. So, I wait till like the last minute to get them done, and I'm like, I told my girlfriend, I'm like, hey, we'll just throw them in my suitcase and wrap them up and throw them in the suitcase. Well, then they won't fit in the suitcase; they're too big. So it's literally like 5 o'clock in the morning. We're trying to figure out how we're gonna get these things to the show, and we had to go. I think luckily we had like an extra suitcase that was like in the closet that we forgot we even had. Taped them up and threw them in there. And anyway, yeah,
That's funny. How do you when with the one that you threw in the overhead compartment on the plane? How do you even get that past like security and stuff?
the lady, like the last check, she was super cool. She like, I actually asked her like, can I like carry this on with me? And she let me carry it on, and she's like, yeah, you can fit it, but if you can fit it between the seat and the window, you can just leave it there. But if not, you can just, well, it wouldn't fit there. She's like, I'm like, I can just throw it in the overhead compartment. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm thinking the whole time, like, this thing's going to be ruined by the time it gets there.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. It had a couple of marks on it, but nothing too major.
That's amazing. That's super cool.
Yeah.
Well, right on, man. Well, thanks again. Thanks for sitting with us.
Yeah, thanks for
chopping it
hanging
up.
out, man.
I can tell this podcast thing is really working out for you guys when you have to have me on. It must be going really well.
We'll see you guys next week.